Hare Krishna. So, welcome to the Gita class. And today, as you might have seen, the topic, the title is Mental Food in the Three Modes. We're going to study three verses of the Bhagavad Gita. I need a book. And we are going to use these verses more as an analogy. Krishna is talking about foods, nourishment, physical nourishment in the modes of nature. And you're all familiar with the concept. I assume you're all vegetarians. I assume you're all prashadarians. So I'm not going to preach to you to become vegetarian or anything like that. But I'm using these verses as an analogy for the mental food, because the normal food and drink, we take it through the mouth. But the mind also absorbs also through the ears, every sound, music, conversation, and through the eyes, forms, movement, movies, videos, and that's also a type of food. So we'll use this as an analogy. Food for the body, food for the mind. And why, in one sense, the food for the mind is more dangerous or is more tricky to recognize when it's not good for us. So we'll read from chapter 17 and text 8, 9, and 10, because only 10 as a purpose. Okay, Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 17, the divisions of faith, text number 8. I just read the Sanskrit. Tvabalarogya sukha priti vivardhana rasya snigdha stirare dhyapara sattvika priya. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Text 9. Katvam lulavanati ushna, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning, are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. 10. Puti paryushitam chayat uchishtam apicha medhyam bhujanam tamasa priham. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The purpose of food is to increase the duration of life, purify the mind, and aid bodily strength. This is the only purpose. In the past, great authorities selected those foods that best aid health and increase life duration, such as milk products, sugar, rice, wheat, fruits, and vegetables. These fruits are very dear to those in the mode of goodness. Some other foods, such as baked corn and molasses, while not very palatable in themselves, can be made pleasant when mixed with milk and other foods. They are then in the mode of goodness. All these foods are pure by nature. They are quite distinct from untouchable things like meat and liquor. Fatty food, as mentioned in the 8th verse, have no connection with animal fat obtained by slaughter. Animal fat is available in the form of milk, which is the most wonderful of all foods. Milk, butter, cheese, and similar products give animal fat in a form which rules out any need for the killing of innocent creatures. It is only through brute mentality that this killing goes on. The civilized method of obtaining needed fat is by milk. Slaughter is the way of subhuman. Protein is amply available through split peas, dal, whole wheat, etc. Foods in the mode of passion, which are bitter, too salty, or too hot, or overly mixed with red pepper, cause misery by reducing the mucus in the stomach, leading to disease. Foods in the mode of ignorance or darkness are essentially those that are not fresh. Any food cooked more than 3 hours before it is eaten, except prasadam, food offered to the Lord, is considered to be in the mode of darkness, because they are decomposing. Such foods give a bad odor, which often attracts people in this mode but repulses those in the mode of goodness. Remnants of food may be eaten only when they are part of a meal that was first offered to the Supreme Lord or first eaten by saintly persons, especially the spiritual master. Otherwise, the remnants of food are considered to be in the mode of darkness. and they increase infection or disease. Such foodstuffs, although very palatable to persons in the mode of darkness, are neither liked nor even touched by those in the mode of goodness. The best food is the remnants of what is offered to the Supreme Personality of God. In Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord says that he accepts preparations of vegetables, flour, and milk when offered with devotion. Of course, devotion and love are the chief things which the Supreme Personality of God accepts. But it is also mentioned that the prasadam should be prepared in a particular way. Any food prepared by the injunctions of the scripture and offered to the Supreme Personality of God can be taken even if prepared long, long ago, because such food is transcendental. Therefore, to make food antiseptic, eatable, and palatable for all persons, one should offer food to the Supreme Personality of God. Yes, you can come in. You can come in. There is a little space here. Yes, please come in. There's a little space in that corner. As I said in the beginning, the mind also eats. And the difference is that the mind can eat all day, all night. I mean, physically, we can eat, say, 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Maybe some snacks. Some people are a little bit more prolific in their eating habits. But how much can you eat? You cannot eat constantly. But the mind constantly eats, constantly absorbs both perceivable and imperceivable food, meaning vibration. Sometimes most of the thing we know, like for instance, we see what we see with the eyes, what we hear with the ears, we are conscious, but there are also subtle vibes that we may not recognize, the energy of the place. Nowadays, we are constantly bombarded. Our mind, our subtle body is constantly bombarded by different stimulations. Imagine 200 years ago, or even 100 something years ago, if you wanted to hear some music, you needed to have live music. So maybe, and this is all over the world. If you want to hear some music, you need live music. So you need the orchestra or a band, at least somebody who plays the flute. It's not something that you have accessible every day. Maybe a wedding, things like that. Maybe a march, what do you call, army band. Nowadays, we could listen to music all day if we want. Everybody has got the phone, has got the internet. You can put hundreds of thousands of songs in your phone, and it's freely available on YouTube and so on. So the mind can be fed constantly, but we see that the people are not more happy. 200 years ago, when there's music, creates immediately a mood, a very special mood, festive mood. But nowadays, you can see people are listening all the time, and they're not happy. Although they can have all music from all over the world, always, constantly at their fingertips, still they're not happy. Still they don't become more joyful. Yeah, maybe for a few minutes, it's a little escape, like that. Similarly, movies. 200 years ago, there were no movies, full stop. If you want to see some drama, you got to go either to a theater or in a village, there is some little performance, and then you see, but it's something sporadic. So it has impact. Now you want to see any movie, you can just sit in your room and see any movie in any language, any style. And people do that. Now, an addiction that unfortunately affects also devotees is the scrolling. Unfortunately, many devotees admit in private that they are addicted to scrolling. When they have few free moments, they go there with their lotus thumbs. That's food for the mind, and it's not very good food, generally. It doesn't raise our consciousness. It's like when sometimes out of nervousness we eat, it's not really good food. Some roasted peanuts or something like that, we just eat like this for nervousness. It's not something that gives us health. Maybe it's very bad for the liver. And so similarly, this type of food for the mind doesn't nourish. And in fact, at the end, people feel empty. People feel guilty. I wish that I could have read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Instead, now I'm more ignorant than before. And not only that, not only the content themselves, I'm talking, but the vibe, because we are small. Okay, maybe we are adults, we are big, but as souls, we are small. So material nature is very strong. So when we scroll something quote unquote innocent, some humor, a little sport, a little maybe sound innocent, but actually it gives us certain values. We acquire the values of the people in those. Say we watch a movie. It doesn't have to be a very bad movie, very sinful or violent, but the value of the people, because we connect with people, we identify with people, with the hero. So the value of the hero becomes our value without even saying what he or she thinks is the important thing. And then, of course, there is so much contamination. Could be nationalism, first of all, identification with the body. And sometimes the hero, if you analyze, it's not less demoniac than the villain. It's just that because the story is made in a such way that you like this person. But he's as selfish, sometimes as violent, as ignorant as the villain. And because you're watching the movie and you say, oh, this is a hero. No, you root for the hero. I hope he will, he will win this fight. I hope he will achieve. I hope he will get the girl finally. Then we absorb all this is food for our mind. And then automatically we become farther away from the spiritual world, the mood of bhakti. There is no bhakti. There's only bhukti. It's only one letter difference, but it makes a lot of difference. Bhukti is the desire for personal pleasure. Maybe legitimate, not legitimate, but it's just egoism. And bhakti is love, giving, devotion, dedication, affection for the Lord and his devotees, like that. So even if it's just a normal drama, we go farther from bhakti. We go farther from bhakti. May not be so sinful or anything. I'm not even talking about very directly sinful and degrading things like porn. But I'm just saying even normal dramas, they coat our mind with selfishness, with the self-identification of the people. Like I was this afternoon in what's called the
stage program.
Well, there's
Karlsplatz.
Huh?
Karlsplatz.
Okay, Karlstad.
Karlsplatz.
Karlsplatz.
Stakus.
Stakur.
Stakus.
When we were there was Stakur, but anyway, I was there. We did Harinam for 2 hours. I'm not criticized, but you see these people, they don't know what they're doing. So they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's the goal of life. They don't know who they are. They just go almost like zombies. They may be tourists, they may be business people, they may be family, but they're all absorbed in the bodily consciousness. They think I'm Turkish, they think I'm German, they think I'm Japanese. There are a lot of Japanese today. And when they see the Harinam, most of them is like they don't have in their cultural structure, they don't know where to fit it. Because, okay, say if you see a Nazi skin, okay, it's a Nazi skin. I mean, this country, new Nazi had a 20% last elections, but you know where to fit it. You see a emo, you know emos. You see a emo, you know where to fit it. Okay, he's a emo. You see a punk, but you know how to fit it. Okay, he's a punk. You see a hippie. Hippies, you don't see them anymore, but just in case you see a hippie, okay, he's a hippie. But when you see Hare Krishna chanting in the street, it was an Indian boy, me, which more or less Western, and then one German lady. They don't know where to fit it. They don't know, because in their food chain, mental food chain, there's no space for us. But then at one point, one lady came, one Indian lady with a Punjabi. She was really enthusiastic. She didn't know the mantra, but she was trying to repeat. She was really forever, was like an oasis in the desert. And then she said, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Like, back to the point. Whatever entertainment is done for these people must be bad for us. It's just like an axiom. It's just an axiom. Just like you see what they eat, right? They go with their McDonald's, with their things, with their pretzels, with the things with pigs inside, dead pigs inside. That's what they eat. So their mental food must be in the same modes. You cannot feed your body in tamas and rajas and then feed your mind in sattva. So we need to be careful. See, bhakti yoga is beyond moralism. So I'm not trying to say, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. I'm not trying to demonize. It's a science, just like food is a science. Srila Prabhupada, if you notice in this purport, is very scientific. He says the proteins are in the dal. This is scientific. So similarly, the food for our mind is scientific. What will give us pleasure and what will ultimately makes us feel empty. I'll give you an example. Look, this is even with once I went to this was in England. I want a Bhakti Viksha group, like a little meeting. And sometime, see, I was presenting the Bhakti Viksha concept. Sometime I just sit in the meeting to see how they do it. This time there was a devotee who was a psychologist, and the whole time of the dialogue, he spoke about psychology. And he even brought some little paper masks, like masks. Paper.
Mask. Okay, mask.
Mask.
Okay,
No.
okay.
Like, for instance, there was a mask with the brick wall. And then they were saying, you see, this is a sort of insecurity, it's a defense. They put this face because. So it was interesting. But I remember that after the half an hour of that discussion, taste was not the same as to talk directly about Krishna or the Bhagavad. I'm not saying that this was, we'll say Sattvaguna, because his knowledge about the dynamics of the psychology was nothing wrong. But I remember specifically that after this dialogue, there was really something missing. It was not as nourishing the mind as, say, a direct Krishna conscious discussion, getting in touch with Krishna. So I don't have to moralize. I don't have to super explain. We all have access to internet. We all have access to everything. So we have experience of using the time beneficially for us and less beneficially. Let's put it. We all have this experience that, okay, maybe it's an escape. We are under pressure. We're under stress, either for work or family or even sometimes devotional service. So we escape. But then how nourished we feel? We may not feel nourished at all. Not only that, but we miss the opportunity. Some devotees are very concentrated. Maybe in that time they listen to a lecture, so they enrich themselves, they expand their awareness, or they learn something. That some devotees put verses, shlokas everywhere in the kitchen while they're cooking. Sarvadharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Like that. So they take every opportunity and then they're enriched. And then they can be instrumental to do something beautiful. Obviously, the devotees who just scroll and this and that and watch this and that. Then you ask them to give a class. What do they give a class about? Therefore, they won't give a class. And then you ask them to come do service on the altar. They don't like because it takes energy. Scrolling doesn't take energy. Just one thumb. And it's a world epidemic, more than the pandemic. If you calculate how many people got COVID, percentage, and how many people scroll, more people scroll than people got COVID. So it's like, it became almost the default mechanism. And this is very dangerous. Also because, you see, I assume here mostly are practicing Vaishnava, so we have some rules. So for the food, real food for the body, two things. First of all, non-vegetarian food is disgusting for devotees, so they're not attracted. I mean, generally, no, but you never hear devotees that fried chicken, you feel disgusted. When you are in an airplane and they're eating meat near you feel the smell, that acid smell of flesh. You don't feel attracted. Second, you have made some vow, and so you have some boundary. Even if there is onion garlic, you check, or they give some pretzels, say onion garlic. No, that's not for me. Finished. So because, first of all, we don't like it. First of all, we took some vows, and there's our natural boundaries. But the food for the mind, we don't have that. Because we don't have a vow of initiation. I mean, we hear, don't waste time. We know, I mean, we're all adults here, we know. It's not that we don't know. But it's not a vow. Maybe we should add. For regular principle, fifth, no scrolling. There was a cartoon once, they made a cartoon. The guru gives initiation, saying no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no Facebook. And then the girls, so because Maya is very, 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 very expert in taking our mind. She wants to feed our mind. And anything, you want anything. What sport you like? Cricket is unlimited. Cricket. Food. You like football? Limited food. Anything. And plus there is the news. Like, for instance, this is not about, I'm not saying, I also check the news every day. Maybe I shouldn't say I need to know what's going on in the world, but I want to know what's going on in the world. So I check I check just the headlines, and I don't think it's wrong. But even within the news, there is something that you need to know, kind of. I mean, you live in Germany, you may want to know that, say, they're just transforming the automotive industry into a rearmament industry. You want to know, kind of, the general, you're living in a country, who is the president of the country, who is the chancellor. You want to know. I mean, unless you want to be just completely in a cave. But even news, there is kind of news in Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. News, like for instance, there are news that are kind of neutral. Like you want to know what's going on in Ukraine. You want to know what's going on in Gaza. You want to know what crazy thing today Trump says. Just to know, just to know. But you want to know what nonsense is he bringing up today. Okay, and this is not a political statement. This is a clinical state. So even the news, I give an example. Some devotees I know, they become so obsessed with this Air India Ahmedabad crash. And it become like almost a morbid, like a hobby. And you say, what is it? What the 5%? What is it? But it's like, okay, now, of course, very deep respect to those 260 people. Some were devotees. Now they found the Bhagavad Gita, they found the Balagopal. Great respect for those souls who left the body like that. At the same time, it was what, 2 months ago? What was that? Less than 2 months. But many days ago. Still, they feed us. Feed because it's a mental food. They feed us. You could spend 1 hour a day, almost like a sadhana. Chant 60 rounds, take my prasad, read proper books, and 1 hour on the Ahmedabad crash. No, you could do that. So we should think, why are you so attracted to that? Okay, there are 260 people, but you know that in India, every day, 474 people die in car accidents. That's almost double, and that's every day. So it's, in one sense, first of all, it's almost double every day. And then every day, basically in India, every 3 minutes, somebody dies in the street. In a moped, in a bike, in a bus, in a car, maybe some bullock cart, something. Every 3 minutes. We started this. How long ago we started this class? Half an hour, 35 minutes. So already 12 people died on average, of course, maybe not exactly this, but 12 people already died while we are talking here peacefully. 12 people died. Somebody was spaced out, just went and crashed into a tree. Somebody just was drunk and he killed 3 people who were walking on the side. Like that, 12 people already died. In a day, it's almost 500 people. But we don't talk about that. But somehow, this crash captures our imagination. Maybe not ours, but capture the people's imagination. So that's like food which is too spicy, too hot. Some people really eat chilies like if they were grapes, no? And it's not good for them because destroys the mucus in the stomach. So similarly, this really contaminates the mind. And I'm not talking about sinful thing. It's just, what happened? It was the pilot, it was the co-pilot, it was the thing, the fuel, In one sense, who cares? Who cares? In one sense, how is important for us? We are also going to crash. The body was going to crash somehow, got to die in some way. May not be so spectacular, may not be so quick, because you can say whatever you want. But those people at least did not die after months in a hospital, after years struggling with cancer, after multiple surgeries. They were sitting peacefully. They just heard the safety announcement. Okay, we're going to London, all plans. Some of them didn't even know they didn't know when they died because it took nothing, seconds. So they just crashed. So in one sense, it's an enviable death. They're not staying in bed for 3 years, transplants and all that. That's a separate issue. So what food are we putting in our minds? Now we're adults, nobody's checking, nobody's telling us to switch off that. No. We have to be responsible. But we need to know scientifically. And like movies, there are some rare movies in Sattva Guna. Like there's a movie about Madhvacharya. You saw that? All in Sanskrit. 3 hours like that. You hear Madhvacharya. Then the same they made in Ramanujacharya. The same they made even in Shankaracharya. We may not be fan of Shankaracharya, but this still is Sattvaguna, not that some philosophy like that. So there are some rare movies, like for instance, there is a old movie about Saint Francis. Saint Francis. It's called Brother Sun, Sister Moon. Very Sattvic. You see the Saint Francis, how he becomes a saint, how he restores the church. It's Sattvaguna. It's not contaminating how he helps people, he helps the lepers and so on. So some rare movie in Sattvaguna, and then mostly it's passion and ignorance. Some fighting, robberies, killing. Plus there is Super Tamas, which is a horror movie, because they are not even real. I mean, a robbery is total passion and ignorance, but at least there are robberies. But zombies don't exist. And there are so many movies, I don't know the statistics, but maybe as a general, the movie on horror are the most produced movie. And that's like people, you can see people eat squids and people eat fish. In England, they have the fish and chips. Both are tamasic, both the chips and the very oily, very thing like that. This kebab, they cut it there, this big meat. So you can see, so similarly, the mind food also is very, very, very bad. And as devotees, because we didn't take a vow on that, and because sometimes it's an escape, it's more dangerous for us. I mean, how many here among the Munich devotees will eat a chicken? Maybe nobody. Maybe nobody. How many will just smoke again? Maybe, but it's very rare because we know and it's disgusting anyway. But many things we absorb. Somehow there is some attraction, but it's a tamasic and rajasic attraction. And obviously then, it's called Krishna consciousness. I really like this word, Krishna consciousness, because it's not just, Krishna consciousness must be dynamic. Consciousness is present. Consciousness means the contents of your awareness. It's not just a stamp. Oh, I'm a Christian. Oh, I'm a Buddhist. No, are you Krishna conscious? Right now, are you doing something that pleases Krishna? Directly or indirectly. Are you doing something? Are you doing your dharma? Maybe as a family person, as a mother, or are you thinking of Krishna? You're hearing something about Krishna? Are you doing some seva, or are you Krishna consciousness? And you're gonna say, no, but I've been 30 years. No, but now, are you now Krishna conscious? So this is a choice. Mental food in the Trigunas. These are some ideas. We could talk much more, but I want to leave some space if there are some questions from our participants or our many, many, many devotees here. Yeah, there's more space in that corner. Yeah, you don't have to stand up. You can go in that corner. There's a little space, please. So any of the devotees here want to ask any question or make any reflections? Or online. We can take online, no?
Yes.
So, Hare Krishna. Yes.
And then once I go there, I keep going down. In other words, for example, when I was doing one of the Shastric courses, I was feeling stressed about learning all the verses and everything, that I was spacing out. But then when I went back to the class, I saw that other students were better in the verses than I was. And then it kept going down instead of going up. So it's really like this path of mental food, which is unhealthy. It's always going down, 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 down. In other words, it's easy to go down, but it's hard to climb up. It's hard to build a taste for Mahabharata, Ramayana, or shlokas and be able to, it's harder, but it's worthy because later on we feel more inspired to do service. So I think it's like two-way system.
Yeah. So it's just like you see some, especially here in the West, you see very obese people. And you know that some of them will never become slim. They will die. They'll die 60 or heart attack. How many people you know that they are 90-year-old and they are fat? Have you ever seen somebody obese who is 90-year-old? They die. People die more of obesity, especially in the West, than of hunger. More of malnutrition than of non-nutrition. So similarly, because when your stomach becomes so big, it needs more and more food, more snacks, more this, more that, more whatever they eat. So sometimes it's hard. I mean, it's easy for some people. It's very easy, even for me, to put on weight. It's very easy. To lose weight is very hard. So similarly, it's very easy to get these unhealthy mental food habits. It's very easy. Why is very easy? Because we know the Bhagavad Gita, this is the word of God. Krishna is our friend, and he is really talking for us, not only for Arjuna. We know that. But there's no movement, it's all black and white. There are some pictures, but we have seen them 3 million times. So we are not even going to the pictures anymore, right? We've seen this. So it's not, there's no entertainment, in other words. Of course, if we get in touch with ourselves and we read the verse, so beautiful. It just calms us down. It removes fear. It removes stress. But the strength to open the book, because nothing is moving. It's like black and white. But no, in the internet, YouTube, there's always something moving. And there's sound. There's sound. There is always sound. And there's always somebody saying something and cracking a joke. There's something happening, somebody jumping, somebody dancing, like that. So there is always. And when you open a book, nothing happens. You need to put more energy. So we need to remember another part of the Gita where Krishna says that there are 3 types of happiness, according to the gunas. And that happiness in passion is nectar at the beginning, but then it becomes poison. It's nectar because there is entertainment, the senses are stimulated, there's color, there's music, there is drama, there is what do you call, there's adventure, there's suspense, there's emotions, there are feelings. But then again, you become miserable because at the end you feel empty. But Krishna says happiness in the mode of goodness is poison at the beginning. Krishna is very honest, very transparent. It's not saying chant Hare Krishna, be happy. No, he says drink poison and be happy later. That's what he says. So he says first is poison, but then it becomes sad. So it's poison because there's so many things, so many movements and music and drama and so many stimulus like this. And then when you open a book, it's so black and white, it takes energy, it doesn't jump at you. Also, you got to understand what does it mean. And also because when you are sometime in the movement, you know these things. It's not like, oh, wow, I never heard that. No, I mean, maybe if you read the 9th canto, you'll find some story that you never heard or you completely forgot because, it's a big kukshi, it's a rabbit that was supposed to be offered, that Ila becomes a man, a woman, Sudumna becomes a man. So there are some, but even then, doesn't jump at you. You got to concentrate. And all day we are concentrated for work, for this. Even when you drive, you have to be concentrated. So yes, thank you for bringing it up.
They're still successful materially. They pass their whatever high level competitive exams. They become rich. They become famous. But why as a devotee we go down?
Well, I would say that I don't necessarily agree with your analysis because people who win Nobel Prizes and things like that, they don't scroll all day. They put a lot of energy. They put a lot of energy in what they're doing, either in the business side, or the science side, research side, scholars. They don't. Generally, the low class people, medium low class, are the ones who waste a lot of time. And that's why they remain low class, because they're not growing, neither materially nor spiritually, nor intellectually. They don't read books. See, when you read books, even say material books, there's something, your imagination expands. It helps even materially, even if it's just material. Okay, you learn history, or what to speak if you read about history, But those people just scroll and watch. It's entertainment. They don't do anything in life. They're not successful. Successful people. Do you think these athletes who win Wimbledon or the World Cup? They think that actually many of them scroll all day because another example. But all the intellectual efforts, business effort, and the scientific efforts or religious efforts like this, it takes concentration. It's not a fact that sports people are different. First of all, because generally they're just animals. To be a sport star, you don't need to be intelligent. Basically you deal with balls, small balls, oval balls, bigger balls. You have to hit the ball, hit the back, kick them back. It doesn't take. Sometimes this great sports star they have a lot of time because, okay, how much you can train? 2, 3 hours a day. Then they play video games. So sports success is different, okay? But anything which takes intelligence, which takes learning, which takes discrimination, which no, people are not wasting. People are not wasting. Successful writers, they don't waste time.
Wasting time is a
Or yeah, wasting time is a crime. Yes, Prabhu.
One question I have, Srila Prabhupada has written that being in mode of goodness means we regulate our material activities in
Uh-huh.
terms of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and even our
Eating,
recreation,
sleeping, meeting, and defending.
mating, and
Oh, also meeting.
yeah, of course. He mentioned, I don't remember in which book, small book exactly, but he said even recreation also is a necessity for a human being. So recreation in mode of goodness, how devotee can do without putting something unnecessary.
Thank you. See, in the 6th chapter, Krishna says the yogi balances work and diversion. And it's in the part where it talks about Ashtanga Yoga. So they're already in the Himalayas. They don't have phones. They don't have internet. I think they already made a choice. They're not in the village. They're not in the... Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that for a yogi, taking walks in the forest is entertainment or is diversion. No, you do your asana, pranayama for a few hours a day, and then you take a walk in nature. You see birds, you see waterfalls, you see the flowers. That's the entertainment, Sattvic entertainment. So similarly for a devotee, we're not yogis in the forest, but entertainment doesn't have to be forgetting Krishna. Entertainment for a devotee, a good devotee, is chanting extra rounds. Here in Germany, for instance, there are so many trails, forest trails, parks. So you take a bath. I mean, you may not have the Ganga, but you take a bath, you swim. It's good for your body, it's good for your mind. It purifies the body, purifies the mind. Take a nice swim in the river or even in the swimming pool. Or this may be a little controversial, but sometimes just play a little bit, something, volleyball, something like that helps you. You may say, no, but that's frivolous sport. But sometimes you got this energy, you got this aggressivity, you got to do something. It's like, for instance, Japtaka Maharaj, because I was traveling with him, so I saw many times the games called Hari Ball, Ball, no, Hari Ball, no, and you play in a swimming pool. There are two teams. And the game is this. You got to pass the ball. Every time you have to say one name. So, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadada, Shivas, then Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So if the team completes Panchatattva and Maha Mantra, has got scored 1 point. And the others need to stop them. Because when they stop, they have to start. So it's a lot of fun. It's healthy, but you chant the holy name. You chant the holy name. Another time I saw Japtaka Maharaj, Banu Maharaj, I remember many Srila Prabhupada disciples in the Ganga. They were playing, what do you call it? Knight and horses. One devotee is the horse and the other is the knight. And then they have to throw the other devotee down in the water. And you can see these Maharajas, Prabhus, and the GBCs playing like that. Those are innocent. It's good for the body. It's good for the mind. There's a lot of fun. So there are healthy entertainment of diversions. But just watching other people playing, doesn't help. Doesn't help. No, seeing some match or whatever sport and eating popcorns, certainly doesn't help you like that. So depends on the taste. I remember one devotee in Pune, Govinda Prabhu, you know him? No? He said his hobby was singing the songs of the Mukunda Mala Stotra. That was his hobby. I mean, he's a Brahmin by I think also by birth, but by nature. So that's his hobby. When he has, maybe half an hour, he takes a book and just he likes a Sanskrit like that. Maybe we are not like that. So we maybe need something more physical. But we can according to our nature. So, but again, diversion. Okay, you got half an hour, take a nice walk, chant Hare Krishna, or listen to a class, very interesting class on something you like. So there are ways of kind of, what do you call, stressify yourself, kind of, relax, downtime. It's not, you're concentrated, you're not working, you're not doing maybe direct seva, but you relax in a Krishna conscious way. Now there is this game in every town and village is basically Monopoly. I never played. I don't know if I will ever play, but seems the devotee, because it's all about Krishna temple. You open a temple, like that. So there are ways. And of course, there are those like Krishna video, Little Krishna. Those we can watch that. There is that famous movie Sita Swayamvar with N.T. Ramarao. You remember? He's dead and gone. That movie you can see it 30, 40 times in your lifetime. And it's purifying and it's also entertainment. Beautiful costumes, songs. You remember the pastimes. Sita Swayamvar. Everybody's seen it at least 10 times. Anyway, like that. So sometimes you need to be a little creative and a little chaste. Find a way that, I need to distress or I need to a little downtime, but I'll find something Krishna conscious. Generally, see, even vacation for a devotee means not vacation from devotional service, but you do a different devotional service. So here we don't take bath in Ganga, and you go in pilgrimage, you see different deities, you do Dandavat Parikramas of Govardhan. Once my wife did Dandavat Parikrama of Radha Kund. It's a type of vacation. You don't do that every day. So you do a different service. Like maybe you don't cook, you cook as a hobby. Some people like to cook as a hobby. So there are ways of spiritualizing things. Okay, does it help?
Thank you very much.
Okay, any more questions from our esteemed audience or the many devotees who are here? Anybody has anything? Did you lift your arm? No, you were scratching your nose. Okay. Anybody else wants to say something? Or somebody online? Okay, so we can stop here. Thank you very much for the 80, 85 devotees who are here and the ones who are online. Hare Krishna.